Hello, hello, just lean in, family. All right, so I hope you guys had an amazing Sunday. I think I'm live. When I go live on my computer, it's always a little bit wonky to me, but okay. So I hope you guys had an amazing Sunday. I hope you guys spent some time with your family or took care of yourself, got ready for the week. All the things that you should be doing on a Sunday. If you're somebody who doesn't have to work, some people work on Sundays. So if that's you, I hope you had a great Sunday at work. But hey, Robin, how's it going? So one of the things that we do here at Just Lean In, aside from our nutrition protocol, which is absolutely incredible, very different, pretty genius if you ask me, but of course I'm biased. But the other thing that we do here is exercise. So we have exercise regimen that is that works synergistically with our nutrition to help you lose weight, or if you have lost all the weight that you'd like to lose, it helps you maintain and make sure that you're not going through that yo-yo that you're learning to just lean in for life. Okay, so one of the components, one of the elements of our exercise, our exercise regimen is strength training. We do it twice a week, upper body one day, lower body the other day, and it is so important. So I wanted to get on here and share a little bit more about why it's important. Hey Emily, hey Jill. Okay, but before I do that, let me just tell you who I am, because maybe you might not know who I am. It just dawned on me, I didn't tell you that. So I'm a coach here at Just Lean In. I'm also the vice president, so my passion is coaching. I've been coaching for 8 years. I used to only coach for women who were getting ready for bikini competitions. I am a 2-time bikini pro. Fitness Universe was my first pro card. My second was in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I'm not retired, but I'm on pause for a while. I just had a baby 3 months ago, so that's my priority right now. Competing takes up a lot of time. It's fun. I love it. I did 20 shows over 10 years. I love it. But I'm on pause. So anyways, but I'm also a certified personal trainer, and I love all things movement when it comes to the body. I'm also a nutrition junkie too. It all works together, but and I love business, so that's why I'm also on the business side of things here. So but anyways, one of the things I'm extremely passionate about is strength training. It is critical for men, for women of all ages, for a lot of reasons. So I know this intuitively, but I went through and I looked up, there's actually this is very well documented, actually very well studied, and because I'm so passionate about it, if you're pregnant or you know anyone who's pregnant, you should be strength training as well. I can talk to you about that. It is really important for everyone. And the thing that's kind of cool, that I was just pregnant recently, obviously that's why I have this in the back of my mind, but the ACOG, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it, but the governing body that puts out all the information, it'll come to me. I'm going to chalk that up to mom brain. But that governing body actually literally just beginning of last year put in their official guidelines that if you have not been exercising, specifically strength training, prior to becoming pregnant, that you actually should begin a regimen. Now, take it easy and slow, work with somebody who knows how to do that. But that actually is pretty important for a healthy pregnancy. So tip there. But all right, so enough about that. Let's get into, I'm going to give you 6 reasons why, or 6 benefits to strength training, okay? So first and foremost, it makes you stronger and fitter. And now let's talk about that for a minute. So is strength training going to bulk you up? I see Emily asking that. Strength training will not bulk you up unless you're intentionally trying to do that. Our workouts are definitely not going to bulk you up, okay? And let me tell you, I come from the bodybuilding community, so I can tell you full stop. There's a lot of women who are very intentionally trying to put on muscle to be competitive on a bodybuilding stage. And I can tell you full stop, it's extremely challenging. Now, some people have like body types that put muscle on more easily, but it still takes a lot more, very strategic effort to do that. The kind of stuff we're doing with you is not going to bulk you up. It's going to make you like incredible, a lot more strong. And when I say that, it's going to make you stronger for everyday life, okay? So that's what we know. You guys are busy moms, you guys are working, there's, running a household, there's so many things you're doing. And if you think about your weekend, now, like I'll think about mine and I'll tell you the examples. There's so many particular moments where it's important to be strong. So I went grocery shopping and I came home and I'm bringing all the bags in. Well, you know what? Because I'm strong, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I think that, like, for me personally, I love that. Or, hey, think about laundry, right? When you need to carry a big load of laundry somewhere, instead of carrying 2 loads, you can carry 1 big load when you're stronger. So it's everyday things like that. It also, protects you from potentially injuring yourself. So when you're strong and you build up different parts of your body, everyday things where you potentially could injure yourself, you're actually more protected because your muscles are strong, and they can hold you up. Okay, number 2, so that's number 1, makes you stronger and fitter. Number 2, protects your bone health and muscle mass. Okay, so this one is so important. This goes for everybody. When you build muscle, it helps with your bone, joint, and muscle health. And actually, there's a population where this is even more important. So if you're a postmenopausal woman, there's actually a 2017 study published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research that says just 30 minutes, 2 times a week, can improve your bone health, functional performance, structure, and strength. Okay, so that is so important. And guess what? That's what we do here at Just Lean In. Okay, so it's not just about your muscle, it's also about your bone health. It's also about your joint health. If you guys have, I'll tell you firsthand from my experience, I have a knee that bothers me. It's a residual injury. I tore my ACL, shattered my tibial plateau, and tore my meniscus, all in the same injury when I was in college, way back in the day, many, many moons ago. But that injury has always trailed me a little bit. So but because I strength train and I've built up the muscles around my knee, it's not that bad. So that's another thing. If you've got joint pain, I know a lot of you do. I've talked to a lot of you guys. You got joint pain, strength training can be so important and so pivotal to help that, to help your joints be better. And even if you don't have pain, this is helpful to prevent any joint pain. Okay, let's talk about another one. This one's one of Emily's favorite ones. We were talking about this today, but it actually helps you burn calories more efficiently. So basically what happens, it's a thing called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And what that basically translates into is when you are done with your strength training workout, you continue to burn more calories. Okay, so, and this one's important to think about too, because sometimes when you're strength training, you may not register, like your Fitbit or your Apple Watch may not register as many calories, but you're burning more calories than you think, and you're going to continue to burn calories. Question from Robin, do I feel liquid collagen helps with healthy joints? Collagen in general does help with joint health, absolutely. There's, whether it needs to be liquid or not is a whole nother conversation, but it depends on the brand, it depends on the quality, how awesome it, how much it's going to help. But in general, I would highly recommend collagen as part of your routine. In fact, that is part of our program. Why is walking so complementary to strength training? Well, walking in general is just so phenomenal. I know I went on a 3-mile walk today. Emily, you went on around there today. I know Rita, our head of nutrition, was on a hike. We all had a call, and she was on her hike, like showing us around. It was awesome. Walking is really important for a lot of reasons. It helps get your blood circulation going. It actually really helps with your recovery from strength training. When you're strength training and you're lifting weights, you're tearing down muscle that then needs to be rebuilt. And when you're walking, it helps with your circulation, which also helps get that oxygen into your muscles, which helps with recovery. Actually, Betty, what you are doing though is strength training. You don't have to lift with super heavy weights for it to be strength training and to help build your muscle and have all these benefits. Emily and I were talking about this as well today. So there's a lot of different methods to strength training, and I love lifting heavy, but I also really appreciate and program for clients lifting lighter weights, but the key to that is engaging your muscles. Emily and I were chatting about this, okay? So if you're using lighter weights, you generally want to do more reps, but you also really want to pay attention to your muscular engagement. In fact, there's actually some studies that show when you have really good muscular engagement, and there's a few other things that we can talk about, Betty, because I'm your coach, so I'll share a few things with you. But you actually can get some very similar gains to some people who have been lifting heavy. So there's a lot of science to that. There's a lot more nuance to that. If you guys want to hear more, you'll have to message me. Literally send me a message, and I can share more about that because I'm passionate about this. Okay, let's talk about another benefit that I haven't gotten to yet. So another thing is that it helps you maintain your weight loss. So, okay, we're all about weight loss here. That is like our bread and butter, which is kind of funny when I say that out loud. You're not eating bread when you're trying to lose weight. Butter, that actually has some surprising benefits and smaller, but that's another topic. I'm not going to get into it. But anyways, what about afterwards? What about maintaining that weight loss? What happens when you strength train and why it is so important to be doing while you're trying to lose weight and afterwards, you're building metabolically active tissue. So that muscle that you're building, that muscle needs more calories to maintain itself than fat does, okay? So when you are building tissue, you're actually increasing your metabolism, meaning when you have lost the weight, instead of being in this yo-yo where you're really just kind of like crashing down and you like get to a point where your new set point for like eating is very low calories essentially, which a lot of protocols have you doing that. Instead of doing that while you're building muscle, you're actually in a spot where even though you're losing fat, losing weight, you can actually eat at a higher rate. So that's a really cool benefit of weightlifting. Let me take it over here. Yep, bone density. We talked about that a bit. Yeah, bone health is like super, super important here. And I feel like that doesn't get enough, like talked about enough. Like strength training is one of like the top things you can do for your bone density and really should be doing no matter what stage of life you're in. Even if you're postmenopausal already, because I know like that is, us women have a lot of challenges with bone health as we age. Strength training is one of the top things you should be doing on top of your like supplementation and your nutrition, of course. But all right, let me just look at these. Can you spot reduce? Nope. Full stop. You cannot spot reduce. However, let's talk about that for a second. So that you're not going to just be like, oh, I have this flab, right? Us women, I got this flab underneath my arm right here. I'm just going to do 1,000,000 tricep work exercises and that's it. No, not how it works, okay? But when you strength train, you are literally shaping your body, okay? Because you're building up muscles in certain parts of your body. So when you do an arm day, when you lift, when you strength train for your arms, what happens is that muscle is going to shape your arms and give us that nice toned look that we want. And as you lose weight, as you lose body fat, and that body fat comes off, you're going to have that beautiful shape, okay? So while you cannot spot reduce, you can over time change the shape and do some stuff to help your body look a little bit different. Do using resistance bands pair well with strength training with weights? It does actually, yeah. And we do use resistance bands in some of our exercises, but also, or sorry, in some of our workouts. And I definitely use them. I put them in. There's a lot of when you're doing different types of exercises, it can be really helpful for you to leverage different types of weights. So if you're using meaning like or a modality, so kettlebell, dumbbell, barbell, even machines. I'm a proponent of using machines in the right context at the gym. I know some people are not, but I think it makes sense sometimes. But yeah, and resistance bands, I think they have a spot. And I will say, I'll go as far as to say this, Robin. If you're traveling and you don't have access, like you're not going to bring dumbbells with you on a plane, right? Like, I mean, you could. I was crazy enough to do like a lot of stuff when I was. I used to travel with a crock pot. I used to work for Liberty Mutual Insurance, and I was on project work in different sites, and I would travel literally leave on a Sunday night and not come back until Thursday, and I would bring a crock pot with me because I wanted to cook chicken, and this is when I was like really deep into shows, and I was a pro. So, but anyways, most people, we're not going to bring dumbbells with us, but you can throw resistance bands in, and they are just as good and just as effective if you know what you're doing. Emily, why are rest days so important? Rest days is where the magic happens, because what's happening is as you are strength training, you're tearing down muscle. Okay, you're tearing down that muscle tissue. And what happens is then your body needs to use the protein and glycogen to, I'll tell you what that is if you don't know, to restore and rebuild, okay? Those rest days are super important for your body because while you are definitely rebuilding and repairing like in the same day, you really need a full day for your body to just to just do all of that repair. Not to mention it also helps reduce inflammation, which is super important, which you can accomplish through, of course, your nutrition, but that's another important component that I think a lot of people, especially if you're an over-exerciser, that you don't realize. So when you are strength training or you're doing any kind of exercise, you actually build up some level of inflammation in your body. So those rest days help your body reduce that inflammation. Okay, I've got one more that I wanted to share, and I'm looking at questions. I hope I didn't miss any, but keep asking if you have them. So one more thing that I think kind of gets overlooked is that strength training actually boosts energy and improves mood. So you always kind of think about like a runner's high, right? You know, like when you're going for a run, you know you get the endorphins, or maybe you don't know this, but you know when you run, there's a thing called runner's high, which is really just your body's releasing a hormone that makes you really happy called endorphins, okay? So interestingly, I personally realized at some point that I felt, and coming from a former runner, I felt the equivalent of a runner's high when I was strength training. So, and I didn't know if it maybe was just me, but there's actually been quite a few research papers published, and in a meta-analysis of 33 clinical trials, it showed that it really does actually help as a part of a treatment for depression. So isn't that crazy to think about that? That's actually recommended as a part of a treatment plan for depression. And it all goes back to the endorphins. So, all right, so that's it. That's all I wrote down for all of, did I say cardiovascular health? I think I did say that. So, but if that doesn't convince you, I could go on and on. There's so many, it's just such an important thing that you should be doing. It's not the end all be all, but it is certainly something that you should incorporate even 2 times a week, 30 minutes. That's all you need to do for most people, unless you're getting ready for a competition. Then you need to be in the gym a lot and lifting a lot more and different, but that's a whole other thing. Heather, yeah. So, and hey, now you know. Now you can do that. Yeah, I went to my husband and I went to. I'll never forget. Usually, when we go on vacation, we intentionally choose locations or hotels that have like a really good gym because my husband's he actually is the one who inspired me to get into strength training because I was a runner. I was a cardio bunny. Again, I was a runner. That's what I did in high school. I ran cross country and track, and I just was kind of like a cardio bunny. I have a stair stepper at my house. I had like a portable one at college. But when I started dating him, our senior year in college, he religiously every day, not every day, 5 days a week, went down to the college gym and strength trained. So that kind of got me into it. But anyways, when we went to Costa Rica once, and we really wanted to do something. Like there was this beautiful place that we really wanted to stay at, and it had no gym. We brought resistance bands with us, and we got amazing workouts. So so it's a great idea. How do you know how much weight to be lifting? This always confuses me. Okay, so this one is that's a really good question and something you need to know so you don't hurt yourself. So it depends on a lot of things. But first and foremost, for any exercise, whatever rep range you are working out in, you want to choose a weight that you can do all of the reps in good form. Now, so say, and not all programs have rep ranges, but I like to program within rep ranges. So say, we're doing like 10 to 12. If you pick up a 10-pound weight, and let's talk bicep curls. If you pick up a 10-pound weight and you can do 10 in good form, and then that 11th one you're kind of breaking form, or maybe you're swinging a little bit because your muscle is getting tired, you should not be doing that. Now, if you are doing 10 to 12 reps and you pick up a 15-pound weight and you can only get to 8, and that 9th one you're like swinging, you're kind of like breaking form, that's it. That's too heavy for you. Go back to the 10-pounder. Oh, there's my hubby in the background. You see him? I'm pointing the wrong way. There he is. No, I can't do it. There he is. So you have to be careful. But then, so here's another thing to think about. So say you are in that 10 to 12 pound range, and you're getting up to 12 reps in good form, and it feels pretty easy for you. That means the weight's not heavy enough for you, and you need to lift a little bit heavier. I always say progressive overload is a principle that means you should always be working to increase or like improve essentially. So how you do that is like if you're in a rep range, so say you're working out with us and you've done bicep curls, we've done that in previous weeks, and you did it with like a 5-pound weight, and now this week you're feeling like that 5-pound weight is pretty easy. Bump up your weight. That's going to help you get progressively better. Let me see what's in the comments. Heather, I can't wait to get back at it tomorrow. Walk on the beach was great. If I miss my weights, yes, Heather, and I'm so excited for you to get back to it too. You're making such good progress. Heather is one of my clients. I love working with Heather. Emily, I lifted too heavy a few weeks ago and really hurt myself, so I need to find a balance. Yeah, and it's hard because you want it, like, it can be really fun and to lift heavier weights, but it's really like you really want to just think about where you are in lifting the right weight for you, because the thing is, if you keep showing up, we were talking about this today too. Emily and I recorded a bunch of workouts for our Just Lean In clients, and the thing is, if you keep showing up, when you're consistent and you train with these principles and you keep doing the work, you're going to get stronger and you're going to eventually be able to lift heavier weights. So there's no reason to jump the gun, because if you get hurt, then it kind of puts you back. You don't want to do that for yourself. Do you like push-ups as a good chest and bicep move? Do I like them or do I suggest them? Because it's two different things. I don't love push-ups personally, but I do recommend them, and I do incorporate them into my own routine. They're hard as heck. But let me give you a push-up hack, okay? So I don't hate them. They're actually pretty good. So couple things about push-ups. Obviously, a lot of people, myself included at certain stages, do push-ups on your knees, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people never then, a lot of people never then end up progressing to push-ups on your toes. So one of the things that you can do that's pretty cool, if you want to build into doing full rep range or full range of motion push-ups, meaning on your toes all the way down to the ground and up, is start, instead of doing them on your knees, and you can still do them on your knees if you want to, and so you can get that full range of motion. I fully endorse that. But I'm saying if you want to build into on your toes full range of motion push-ups, here's a tip. Do them, but do as much range of motion as you possibly can. So even if you can only get down a little bit, do that. But over time, just keep working at them and keep building into and adding more range of motion on there. And eventually you're going to get to a point where you can do full push-ups. This is exactly how I got to a point where I'm able to do real push-ups. And it's an incredible feeling when you get there. So just a tip, again, you can do them on your knees, especially, if you're really just trying to get, efficient workouts in, that's cool. But if you want to work on getting full range of motion push-ups on your toes, that's how you do it. Why do I become completely breathless on leg day? Legs are a bigger muscle group, and it just is what it is. It takes up a lot more energy to do legs, so that's probably a big part of it. Why do so many trainers recommend planks? Why is it beneficial about them? Okay, so planks are definitely like a core, no pun intended, are definitely like a core exercise you should master. So there's a lot of things about planks that make them good, but in general, you actually have to use if you're doing a plank really well, I used to say this, so I used to actually, I don't do any personal training in person anymore, but I did before. And one of the things that's really interesting about a plank is if you're struggling to do a plank well, most of us think of it as just a core workout, and they think of just our core as our stomach and our abs, or our obliques, whatever. It's actually quite your core actually includes your glutes and your legs too. Like your core is actually a lot more muscles technically. So one of the things that can really help you if you are in a plank, and this is something that I always cue to my clients when I was training in person, is when you are in a plank, squeeze your quads and squeeze your glutes and see how that changes the equation. See how that changes your strength when you're in a plank. I do wall push-ups, then change to a table. Yeah, Betty. Okay, I love that you said that, Betty, because so when I'm recommending modifications in when we are doing live workout or recording workouts, one of the things that I recommend for push-ups or for mountain climbers is actually to do them against the wall. So that's a great way to, if you don't have the strength to stay in a plank to actually plank, for push-ups, for mountain climbers, anything where you're on the ground in a plank position, if you can't hold that position in good form or at all, then go do them on the wall. And if you have wrist injuries, modifying by doing them on the wall is also a good way, because when you're in push-up or plank position, right, your wrist is fully bent, so that's really uncomfortable for a lot of people who have wrist injuries. So doing them against the wall is a great way to modify. Why is it so important to have a strong core? Your core is one of the parts of your body that's going to stabilize you. It's going to help you. Basically, it helps with everything you do. If you do like every exercise, actually, I was cueing this today with skaters, which you would never think, but majority of the exercises you're doing, get a lot more, you're a lot safer and more when you're more stabilized, because when you have a stronger core, that core strength is going to come into play for so many different things. It helps prevent injury. It is just so important, which is another reason, which is actually a reason why, or I should say another, it's one of several reasons why we actually have core workouts that we do, that, and we have our clients do at least once a week, and then you can also do them as add-ons on some of the other days. But we have specific core workouts because it is so important. Okay, so we're at 30 minutes, so I'm gonna end it there. I don't see any more questions. I think I got everything. But if you're watching this on replay, just hashtag replay in the comments and ask a question. We are always monitoring here. Or please send me a message. I would love to talk to you. And actually, on that note, if you are interested in becoming a client of Just Lean In, I know some of you guys had requested that coming in to the group, but if you haven't heard from us, it's probably because we're not able to connect. Sometimes if you're not already friends on Facebook, it won't let us connect with you. So please reach out to us. You can message me if you are interested in a consultation, or even if you're like really not sure, but you kind of got interested, if you're interested in any of the stuff I was talking about, just message me. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very passionate about this. And I would love to share more of my knowledge with you and help you. So just reach out if you, if you have anything. Oh, Emily, do you recommend burpees? Why are they so popular? Yeah, I mean, I put burpees, listen, I have been programming burpees for many moons, and I still think they're really important. I mean, they're quite honestly, like I like to put them in on upper body days as a way to get your heart rate up a little bit higher when we're working on smaller muscle groups, and incorporate your chest and your back and other muscles through the push-up at the bottom. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, hey, Amber. You're welcome. It was so good. I wish we recorded it. I think this live will live on this page for a little while, hopefully. So, but yeah, so anyways, I'm going to sign off here. Please message me. Please reach out. And if for some reason I'm not getting back to you, just tag me here or tag me in a post, because sometimes Facebook will not let me know if you reach out to me and vice versa. So please message me. I want to hear from you guys, or reach out to Emily or Amber, and we are happy to help you. All right. Have a great night, and we will see you in the chat, or excuse me, in this group.